Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this webinar this evening on Facebook advertising. So we're just going to wait for a few people more to turn up. And in the meantime, I just want to give you some information about where you can access the handouts from today's webinar. So on the right-hand panel, over on the right-hand side, you should be able to see a panel, and down there you should be able to see handouts. And you should, if you click on that and click on the down arrow, you'll see two handouts. One is for the Dream Customer Worksheet Master Copy, and one is your Dream Customer Worksheet Sample. Please feel free to download those while we wait for a couple of other people just to arrive, and we'll be beginning very shortly. So stick around and we'll be back in about a minute. Okay, we've got a few more people joined us now, so I'm actually going to make a start. So as I said, a very warm welcome to you all this evening to this webinar sponsored by the LoCASE programme. And this webinar is free to attend for businesses in Essex, Kent and East Sussex. All as a big thank you to LoCASE. And we've actually got Lisa Ricketts, who's the delivery manager for LoCASE, who's going to be talking to you guys later this evening, just to give you a heads up of what LoCASE is all about and some funding that you might be able to get your hands on. So stick around and listen to Lisa. It's always great when there's funding available for businesses to support development. So my name's Caroline Thomas, and I am the Managing Director and founder of the Social Accelerators. And this webinar is called How to Target Your Dream Prospects with Facebook Adverts. Now, when I talk about Facebook adverts, I will also be talking about boosted posts as well, but boosted posts will be maybe a bit different to what you're used to for those of you that have tried boosted posts before. So when I'm referring to boosted posts, I'm not referring to posts that you press the blue button where it says boost post on, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later. So I've been running Facebook ads since the 27th of June 2012, to be precise, and have literally delivered thousands of campaigns in that time in my social marketing agency. And what I'm sharing with you today are the techniques that we use in our social media marketing agency. So they're up to date, they're current, and they work. So what's coming up this evening? First off, we're going to look at how to best identify your target market for Facebook ads. Then we're going to look at how we can use a brilliant Facebook tool to research our audience. Then we're going to look at how can we set that audience up within the Facebook Ads Manager. And finally, we're just going to cover off a little bit about the LoCASE program, and Lisa will be going through that with you. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is your audience. Now, when I talk about target audience, I talk about the people that you want to sell your products and services to. And we like to think that we can do business with anybody. And you know what, that could be true, but unfortunately it's just not going to happen. We can't possibly sell our goods and services to every single person on the planet. Look, if we could, we'd all be millionaires right now, okay? And even, you know, you can't even sell goods that have a massive market to every single person, because not everyone's likes are the same, not everyone has the same budget. So we just have to understand that we have a particular audience who is most likely to buy our goods and services. So let's think for a moment about your dream customers. Who is it that you want to be doing business with? Who do you want to buy your products and services? Think about the customers that you've already got or have already bought from you. What makes them great customers? Is it the fact that they're repeat buyers? Do they already spend lots and lots every time they shop with you or buy your products and services? Are they high spenders? Are they a niche that you have an affinity with? And who is it that you would prefer to serve over and above everybody else? So if, for example, you run a florist, maybe you only want to deal with weddings. If you run a beautician, a beauty business, maybe you only want to do pamper parties. Think about, of all of the things that you sell, what is it that you'd like to sell more of, and who is it that you would like to sell them to? Now you need to build up a picture of your dream customer using the dream target audience planning sheet. And as I said, if you go to the panel over on the right hand side, you'll see handouts, and in there you'll see two sheets. One is the master copy and one is the sample. So that's just to give you an indication of how to fill that in. So I'm going to go through it with you this evening briefly, and I'd expect you to be able to work through that then yourself afterwards. So use the dream customer worksheet. Every time you're thinking about a different new audience, or maybe you're introducing new products or services, think about who is the dream customer that you want to sell that new product or that new service or your existing services to. So first off, at the top of the dream customer worksheet, we have what we call the demographics. So that's gender. So are they male, are they female, or are they both? And by both, I mean to both men and women buy your products and services. Now, we like to think again that we do business with more people or with everybody, but actually when you look at who's already buying from you, there will be more of one than another. And if it's significantly more of one than another, and you want to be using Facebook adverts, then that's where I would start my audience. So let's imagine again that it's brides and you're a florist. I would be aiming more for females than men, because whilst men do get a say sometimes, they're not the ones that are necessarily out there doing all the research all of the time. Now, okay, I've made a stereotype decision based around that, but that's more likely to be true. The next thing we need to think about is marital status. Now, that might not be so important if you're selling your products to businesses, but it might be important if you're selling your products to consumers. Again, I'm taking the florist as an example, is that perhaps we want to be looking for everybody on Facebook who's engaged. So we can actually look at that detail on Facebook, and we can choose to target audiences just to people who have said that they're engaged. So the marital status in that stage would be engaged. How many children do your target audience have? And what are the approximate age of children? So let's now imagine that you're running pamper parties and you want to be selling pamper parties for for children aged 3 to 8 years old. It's a good idea to know that we're targeting 3 to 8 year old parents of 3 to 8 year olds. So you'd need to make sure that you're detailing that. What's the age of your target market? So again, in the situation of the pamper party, how old are the parents typically? So is it that they start at, I don't know, 25 and go up to 40? We can look at that with a different tool that we're going to be using later, but have an idea to start with about the age. Then where do your target market live? Now, if you sell your products and services online, the likelihood is that they could be anywhere in the UK, or if you ship internationally or deliver internationally, they could of course be anywhere in the world. However, if you're testing Facebook ads or boosted posts with a real good target audience, it's a good idea to narrow it down slightly. You wouldn't, or it's not advised to target the whole UK the very first time you run an ad, because you will learn a lot each time you run an advert. So for example, I would choose, if I was going to run an ad, I would choose to target the main towns in the southeast of the UK to start with. Even though I know I could sell to the whole of the UK, I want to try and test some adverts with a local audience first. So where is it that your customers live? Where is it that you want to be selling your goods and services? And list all of those in the where do they live part. Now, one thing that you can't do in Facebook is you cannot target by county. For example, Essex, you can't target Essex, Kent, or East Sussex, or any county. but you can target the towns in those areas or the postcodes in those areas. Next, think about what is the job role or occupation of your target market. Now, if you're selling to consumers, that's maybe not so important, but if you're selling your goods and services to businesses, that's super important. Through Facebook targeting, and by the way, there's 1,200 different ways to target an audience on Facebook. We can actually target people by their job roles. So make sure you know what the job role is, and you might want to do some research on LinkedIn beforehand, because people have some really strange job titles these days that are doing what would be traditionally known as different names. So try and find out all the different job roles that are similar to the one that you know about. Next, think about how much your target market earns. I know one of the questions that I very much get asked running social media adverts is, how is it that I keep away the people who just want everything for nothing? And the way to keep those people away is to make sure that you're not showing them your adverts. So you could target, for example, people earning £30,000 plus, or you could target people who are earning £50,000 plus, or you could target people who are earning £75,000 plus. The scary thing is that Facebook have what we call big data on people. So big data is information that's been obtained by Facebook. So we can never see that. So you and I will never see that a certain individual earns a particular salary. But because when you buy insurance, you often have to enter your salary, it's held as big data. So Facebook can access that, but we can't. However, they can choose to show our advert. So if we say only show our advert to someone who earns £50,000 or more, they can make sure that that happens and it's only shown to people who earn £50,000 or more. Also have a think about the social media sites that people use, that your target market use, because the brilliant thing about Facebook is that it also owns Instagram. And if you want to run Instagram ads, you can set up an advert that's the same on Facebook and choose to show it on Instagram as well as Facebook. Next part of the questionnaire, you're going to need to think about, what is it that your ideal prospect wants to achieve that's relevant to your product and service? And this part helps you with developing your marketing message. So I want you to think about not only what is it that they want, but what budget is it that you think they want to buy it at? Now, I'm not suggesting for one moment that you change the pricing on your products at all, but it's really, really important to understand your market and what they will pay for things, because then you can target the right people. And again, you can target that then by their wants, needs, desires, and behaviours. So for example, if you want to only sell high-end bouquets for weddings, it might be that they have a lower income, but that they spend more money on going out and going abroad. So you can actually target people based on their behaviours, that they spend more money, which means that they're going to be far more used to spending higher prices for your product. So think about that. So what is it your ideal prospect wants to achieve? So I've used an example, for example, a haircut under £10, makeup for a wedding with X budget, hiring a limo for a birthday party for 15 kids within a budget of £400. So do some research, ask your customers what it is that they want. Next, we can actually target interests. So when we're all busy liking pages on Facebook, and when we're clicking links that we find interesting on Facebook, Facebook knows our behaviours. I mean, that can be super scary, right? Because it's quite frightening how much they know about us. But it's probably best to think about it positively from a marketing point of view, rather than go, good grief, how does Facebook know all of this stuff? Because as consumers, we could be quite concerned about that. So in this part, what we're looking to do is we're looking to what are the interests of the people that you want to target. So relating to your product as well, by the way. So what books might they have read? Now books, that's probably more on a business to business point of view. But it might not be if your product is specific. I don't know, let's imagine you sell an e-commerce product to someone who's interested in World War II memorabilia. you would want to be targeting people who have read books about World War II. What magazines would be important or of interest? So if you're in the beauty business, what beauty magazines are there that your audience might read? So might it be Heat magazine? Might it be Vogue? Might it be Marie Claire? If you're in the wedding industry, could it be Brides magazine? And I'm sorry, I don't know all the others, but there's many of them. What blogs or websites are they visiting? So for example, it could be confetti.co.uk for the wedding market. It could be some of the big blogs, beauty blogs for the beauty industry. It could be a website that's all about it could be a forum for business owners if you're targeting business owners. Next, which events, conferences and associations might your target audience get their information from? So let's imagine you want to target accountants and you want accountants to buy your products and services. What associations might they be a member of? What conferences might they attend? And then with influencers and celebrities. So let's think about, we live in a celebrity culture. We really do live in a celebrity culture. If a celebrity culture gets their kids' hair cut, you'll be amazed how many other people all of a sudden have their kids' hair cut in the same way. So these celebrities are what we call influencers or key influencers. But key influencers could also be in the business world. So for example, Richard Branson would be a key influencer because he's an entrepreneur that most people know about and would be interested and would follow his advice. So who are the key influencers and the celebrities that your target audience are interested in that relate to your product and service? And finally, what TV programs do they watch? You know, there's, again, I can think of loads of different television programs relating to brides, like, and I can't think of one single one off the top of my head. Isn't that always the way? But isn't there something around this dress ones and all sorts? So what TV programs is it that relates to your business specifically? Because people will have clicked that or say that they're watching it in their Facebook status updates, and therefore Facebook will know to show the adverts to them. And finally, the thing that you need to think about, what are their objections to the sale? And this again helps you craft your message, your Facebook advert message. And we're not going to talk about actually creating the advert today. Today is all about how do we research our audience? How do we find our audience on Facebook? How many people are there that we could target? And how many people can we reach for the budget that we've got available? So what are the objections to sale? What are the reasons that they don't want to buy from you or might not buy for you? So is it that you're too expensive? Is it that you're too far away? Is it that you're too cheap? Is it that they don't even know that they need what you've got right now? And finally, what role do they play in the decision-making process? So are they a decision maker, a joint decision maker, or an influencer? So I'm going to go back to the bridal situation again, just as an example, because for example, the decision maker would be the bride. The joint decision maker might be the groom if he's lucky to be able to be involved in that decision. The influencer could be the mother-in-law or the bride's mum. Excuse me. So that just gives you an idea that sometimes it could be that your adverts are being targeted to not the person who's going to buy, the bride, but it could be to the decision maker, sorry, the influencer, i.e. the bride's parents, because they're the ones that maybe are funding the wedding or help him pay for the wedding. So that's the sheet. Once you've got that completed, you've got far more of a picture about your target market and who it is, the dream target market. So I really want you to think narrow, not big. And I love big picture thinking, by the way, but this is about who is it that you really want to be working with rather than, okay, let's just sell to everybody. Because as they say, the riches are in the niches, or the riches are in the niches. So that means the more targeted that you can get, the more likely you are to do business, the quicker that you can get your brand known by those people, and the more likely they go from being a really cold customer who never knew who you were didn't know who your business was, didn't know what it was that you do, to a raving fan where they're recommending you to everybody else. The next thing we're going to look at is the Facebook Insights tool. Now, I'm not going to show you this directly on Facebook because it's a webinar, and if we open up a website, we can actually slow the whole system down, and I want you to have a great experience and be able to hear every word that I say. So just understand, and I've got some screenshots coming up, that you're going to need a Facebook ads account to access the Facebook Insights tool, but it is free once you've got a Facebook ads account. So you'll need to set up a Facebook ads account in order to access it, and you can do that at facebook.com/business. Now, once you've set up your ads account, it will probably ask you to create an advert before it allows you to access the audience insights. And that's okay, because what you can do is you might just decide to set up a like campaign with a £1 budget, and then as soon as the advert is approved, you can pause that or stop it. So at least you've gone through the process of setting up an advert, and then you have access to the Facebook Insights tool. And this is where it gets really clever. So once you're on the Insights tool, you need to find your audience insights. So once you've set up your Facebook ads account, you'll go to the Facebook Ads Manager. And whenever you can't find anything in Ads Manager, you can click these 3 lines here, and it will come up with your frequently used things. And here you can see that I'm always using Ads Manager, Audience Pixels, and Audience Insights. But that changes depending on which areas that you use. So if you click on All Tools, you can then see everything that's available for you here. And then what you can do from there is click on Audience Insights. Then the next screen that comes up, it will say, do you want to choose everyone on Facebook? Do you want to look at people connected to your page, or do you want to look at a custom audience? For the sake of this, because we want to research your audience, we're going to choose everyone on Facebook. However, if you have a Facebook page that already has lots of fans, you can go and look at the people connected to your page and get an idea, more of an idea about the people that are on your page, how many people are active all the time, and the other pages that they like. But just for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to click on everyone on Facebook. Now, I've created a pretend audience, shall we say, and on this pretend audience, I've set this up. I've set it up so it's targeting people in Tilbury, which is in Essex. So in this, I've just said, go and tell me, Facebook, how many people in Tilbury are using Facebook? And it will tell me that there's 7,000 to 8,000 people active every month that are in Tilbury using Facebook. And it will show me the percent of women and men, and it will show me the different age demographics. So that's always good to know, because you want to know, well, is your area busy? Are they active on Facebook? But we want to know more than that. So what we can do over on the left-hand side, and I didn't fit in the whole screen, so once we had Tilbury at the top, we can actually come down to advanced, and we can say, right, okay, now show me all the parents. Tell me some more information about the parents that have got children between the age of 0 and 12. So I've ticked those 2 boxes. And once I put that, it then gives me more information. So it's now saying the parents between 0 and 12 in Tilbury, and only Tilbury, there's 500 to 1,000 people in that are active on Facebook. And it shows me that 60% of those are female and 40% are men. And then I can see, and what you can't see here is the age range, excuse me, but I can now see that the best ages for this are going to be 25 to 34 and 35 to 44. So it's absolutely pointless me paying to target any other age range. All I want to do is target my adverts. So now we need to go back to the list, to the worksheet that we had originally, and put the actual ages that we want to target. And this tool gives you those. The next thing that the tool gives you is how to find potential interests. Now, I've gone really top level with this. So of the, this is quite funny, of the parents in Facebook that are living in Tilbury, the number one page is Essex Police. So that's the page that most of them like. Then Freebay Thurrock, then Your Thurrock, which is a local online local newspaper, and then artists and games and companies. Now, some of these are not really that relevant. But if, for example, you were targeting people with kids and you know that they like Baby Basics in Greys, you would be targeting their interests as Baby Basics in Greys. So what this gives you is it gives you more interests that you can key in to the audience on Facebook to decide who is it that you should target. So the Audience Insights tool is amazing. It will give you all kinds of information. If you, when you put in your local town, if you're a local business and you only want to target local businesses or local people, sorry, you will find that sometimes you don't get the number of page likes or the sort of pages that they like. So what you can go and do is just remove Tilbury and leave it at United Kingdom, because then you can find out what are the top pages across everybody in the UK. Now, once you've chose some of these, you could then move these into interests. So you might choose Essex Police and add that as an interest. So you're narrowing your audience, because if you did that, it would now be people in Tilbury that are aged between 25 and 44. So we got the age from the page before, with the interest of Essex Police, or with the interest of Into Lakeside or Baby Basics. So what we're doing is we're narrowing down our audience so that they're the people that are most interested in what we do. So it could be that, let's go back to the florist as an example. It could be that you have all of the towns in Essex, and your interests in here could be all the bridal magazines. And the more bridal magazines you type in here, it will then come up with other page likes. And you need to decide, well, is that relevant to me adding in? So Essex Police, probably not so relevant. Freebay Thurrock, not so relevant. But out of all of these, Into Lakeside would be a good one, because obviously people go there for wedding dress shopping. So that's how you find even more interest to target for your target audience. And remember, you can save the audience, and if you do so, that will make life a whole lot easier for you. However, if you're like me and you often forget to do what you're supposed to, you can actually go and build this audience from scratch in Facebook. So what you'll do is you'll go and set up a campaign. So this now we've done our audience research, okay? We've thought about the worksheet, we've completed the worksheet, we've now done even more investigation around their likes and interests on Facebook. Now we're going to set this up in the Ads Manager. So you'd go to the Ads Manager. Remember, if you can't find anything in Facebook, you always go to the 3 lines and you choose Ads Manager and then Create Ad. And this is where you choose your objective. So you can't see it so well here, but that should say traffic, engagement, app installs, video views. So traffic means that you want to get them to go and click on a website. Engagement is where you get them to click like, comment or share. And video views is where you obviously want them to watch a video. If you want to run a traffic advert, which means you're directing people off eventually to go and click on your website, the minimum spend is £5 per day. If you want engagement, so that's people asking you questions, liking, sharing, commenting, and by the way, you can put a link for people to click within an engagement post. The minimum spend then is only £1 per day. And for video views, the minimum spend again is £1 per day. So one thing I hadn't covered, I'm going to just quickly go back. No, ignore me, it's coming soon. I was just trying to work so you could see how many people for your budget. So decide if you want traffic or engagement or video views. The first time you run an advert, I'd recommend that you use engagement posts. Now these are technically boosted posts. So they will do exactly the same as the boosted post button, but with the benefit of having a much, much, much better way of targeting your customers. So once you've set up your campaign, you then go to what's called an ad set. The ad set is where you set up your audience and your budget. So first off, what you'll do is you'll choose locations, and it's always, you can choose anything, but my recommendation is choose people who live in this location. Then you type in the place that you want to target. So again, I use Tilbury as an example. Now, remember, Facebook is in the United States, and most of us here, well, in fact, all of us here, have businesses in the United Kingdom. Sometimes the map isn't quite as good as it should be, because as you can see, I've typed in Tilbury, England, and we've got Sudbury, Suffolk, and Halstead and North Essex. If you know Tilbury, you'll know it's right on the River Thames at the very south point of Essex. So you do need to make sure you check your map. If your map is incorrect and you've typed Tilbury, you can delete that. There'll be a little, if you hover over it, a little X appears. And what you can do then instead is use the postcode, such as RM18. Facebook does recognise most of the postcodes in the UK. So we can see right now, at the moment, using the wrong location, that Tilbury plus 10 miles here, between 18 and 65, would give us a potential reach of 67,000. But we haven't given, that 67,000 is anybody. And remember, we can't do business with anybody. We need to be way more specific. So once we've put in the correct postcode, so we now put in RM18, and I've now changed the ages to age 25 to 44, now we can see that there's 2,500 people. Now Facebook's telling me it's too specific for the ads to show, but it will show. As long as your audience is over 1,000 people, your advert will show. And then it's telling me, with my budget of £11 per day that I've put in at the moment, it's telling me that I will reach between 550 and 1,700 people on Facebook. And it means that I'll get engagement. So post engagement is likes, comments, shares of between 15 and 90 per day for £11. Now, not everyone's going to want to spend £11. Let's go and look at it from a £1 per day. So this time I've changed that now to a daily budget of £1. The potential audience size is still 2,500. That doesn't change because it's saying of your target audience in Tilbury that are aged between 25 and 44, there's 2,500 of them that use Facebook. But this is the bit that I'm most interested in, is my estimated daily results. So it's saying if I spend £1 today or in the next 24 hours, I will reach between 78 and 440 people. Now, why is there such a big difference between 78 and 440? That then depends on are you putting the right message in front of your customer or your prospect. If your ad is boring or is no interest of them, it gets a really low relevance score. If it gets a low relevance score, it doesn't get shown to as many people. If it's really popular and you get a relevance score of 10, which is the top one you can get, that's super popular and it's the right audience, so it's the right message for the right audience, then you're far more likely to reach the 440. So we can't cover off actual messaging today, but we are going to be running another webinar on the 9th of May. And if you'd like to join that again, I'm going to give you the link at the end. So stay tuned for that. So again, we could now choose to make the audience even more specific if we want to. So remember, I wanted to target parents originally in my example. So I can now go in the detailed targeting part and add, I can go to browse and then I can go to demographics and I can choose all parents. And I've chosen parents here that are from that have got kids between 1 and 8. So it's telling me in total on Facebook that are actively using Facebook regularly, there are 260 people that have kids between the age of 1 and 8 in Tilbury that themselves aged between 25 and 44. Now, if you remember, ideally try to keep your audience size so it's over 1,000 people. So in this example, I wouldn't actually add the parent field in, but normally it would be way, way higher than that. And so we would want to add more demographics, some more interests or demographics or behaviours. So that is pretty much everything to tell you about how to target your Facebook ads. That's given you a lot of information. All of you that are attending this, I'm going to be sending you the recording to this webinar. If you have any questions, along with the recording, I'm going to send you a link to our Facebook group. Please feel free to join the group and ask questions in the group. We can't guarantee how quickly we can respond to you, but we will try to get back to you as soon as we can. So if you'd like to come along to the next webinar, that's on the 9th of May at 8 o'clock in the evening again. And it's going to be how to set up your actual Facebook ad. So you've now chosen your campaign, you've chosen your audience. The next webinar is going to be how do you actually set up the advert that they see, and what are some best practices for the advert that they're going to see. So if you want to register, the links along here, you can either type that in, or again, I will send that along with the recording and the Facebook group so that you're able to ask any questions that you want to. So now I'm going to hand you over to Lisa. Lisa is from the low carbon across the southeast, or LoCASE project. And it's Lisa who's been sponsoring this evening. So I'm going to open up her microphone and I'm going to give her control of the screen. So bear with me a moment while I do that. And Lisa is going to be able to give you some more information about the LoCASE project and how you might be able to save some money for your business. So Lisa, can you hear me, Lisa?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Caroline?
I can. I'm going to mute myself now and I shall hand you over to you. Bear with me a moment. And it's all over to you, Lisa.
Lovely, thank you. Good evening, everybody. As Caroline said, my name is Lisa Ricketts. I'm the delivery manager for the LoCASE programme, or Low Carbon Across the South East, is its full title. And I'm just going to be giving you some information about the project, how you might be able to access it, how it might benefit you, and some examples of businesses that have already benefited from the programme and the funding that they've got. So I'm just going to move through the presentation. So here we go. Okay, so what is LoCASE? So LoCASE is a business support programme which is aimed at small and medium-sized businesses across the South East Local Enterprise Partnership region, and I'll show you a map in a moment which shows you the whole region and where we cover. It's a programme that's part funded by the European Regional Development Funds, so we've got money from Europe to help us to deliver this project. Probably a lot of money from Europe as we enter the Brexit process, but don't worry, LoCASE funding is secure and it's backed up by the UK government. So we are aiming to improve energy efficiency and lower carbon emissions for the businesses that we help. But we're also looking to help businesses that are developing low carbon goods and services and to help their businesses grow. What we have are match funded grants, so we have a 40% grant that we can offer businesses to actually do the things they need to do in their business. So here is our area. This is the South East Local Enterprise Partnership region, and as you can see, it's quite a large area. It covers the whole of Essex County Council, Thurrock and Southend as unitaries within Essex, and we've also got Kent, Medway and East Sussex. My team work primarily out of across the Essex boundary into Southend and Thurrock, and there are other teams that are delivering LoCASE in Kent and other teams in East Sussex. These are the project partners, so we have local authorities across that whole area, plus a university, because some of the delivery for LoCASE is focused on putting businesses in touch with academics and universities to enhance the business development needs of that business. So there are a couple of strands for LoCASE, and what we're trying to do is firstly stimulate demand. So we want to tell businesses about how great it is and how much money they might be able to save by implementing energy efficiency measures within their business. So this is a stimulating demand part where we're trying to encourage businesses to think differently, to look at energy efficiency products, and to buy them for their business so that they can save money, basically. And what we're trying to do is, help businesses to help other businesses within their networks to kind of find out about what we're doing and how they might be able to save money. It's all about making good decisions in the end. So the types of energy efficiency projects we can help with are things like lighting systems, so changing from fluorescents to LEDs, heating systems, so installing air source heat pumps, any kind of equipment that uses energy really, and software even, so software that might help you to be more efficient in your business processes or move your vehicles around more efficiently. The next strand of it is around supporting supply and transferring knowledge. So this is primarily aimed at what we would call the low carbon environmental goods and services sector, or LoCASE for short. It's quite a difficult sector to pin down because it's got quite a lot of different types of businesses within there. It could be somebody that's supplying solar panels, but equally it could be an architect designing low carbon buildings. And what we're trying to do for this audience, these customers, are help them to grow their business. So we know that there's a growing demand for low carbon products, for energy efficient products, but these businesses that are trying to develop these new products and services, they need to get their service or product out to that market. So we're trying to help them to grow their business, and that could be through all sorts of different means. So we've got the types of support we can help with LoCASE businesses are business development, marketing, websites, could be certification for ISO 14001, say, or some consultancy that they might need for their business. So, like many grant funding programs, we have some rules and regulations that unfortunately we have to apply to businesses that are coming to us. So we are working with small and medium-sized businesses, so people who employ fewer than 250 people, and then don't have annual turnover exceeding 50 million euros or a balance sheet exceeding 43 million euros. And I would suggest that that would be most businesses in the UK actually. There are not many really big businesses, there are a lot of small and medium-sized businesses. We are asking businesses to spend the full value of the grant that we give them within the South East region, and we do ask the businesses have to provide some of their own money as match funding. So although we can award 40% towards the cost of products that you might buy, you have to secure 60% from somewhere else. It could be a bank loan, it could be business funds. What's really key here though is that you will actually have to find 100%, and then we'll give you the 40% back once you've paid the money. There are a few sectors that we can't work with, and I'll run through a few on the next slide. And there are a few other restrictions. We're working with something called state aid, so de minimis state aid. So if you've had grants that are de minimis classified of more than 200,000 euros over the past 3 years, then we might not be able to help you. So there are a few businesses that we can't help in these kinds of sectors, so fishing and aquaculture, primary agriculture. Although if you're a farm with a farm shop, then potentially we can help you to do stuff in your farm shop because that's a secondary sector business, but we wouldn't be able to help you to plough your fields, say. We've also got coal and shipbuilding, synthetic fibres, school age education. So most businesses we can help, but there are a few exceptions, as you can see. So customer journey, so how do we engage with you when we are taking you through the process? So we are doing all sorts of things like this webinar, we've got a website, we've got social media, we go out to do business networking events, we are holding our own events. So these are the engagement methods that we're using to try and meet with businesses in the area and encourage them to take advantage of the programme. The second stage is that we'll ask you to do a very simple one-page form that captures your business details and makes sure that you're eligible for support. And then once we've received that form, an appointment will be made with an energy advisor who will come to your business premises and have a conversation. And that conversation may last an hour, 2 hours, depending on the size of your business or what you want to talk about. We'll fit in with whatever suits you as a business. Once you've had your assessment or audit, you'll get a report that details how we might be able to help you, the things we can help you with, how much it might save you, how much energy you might save you, and the carbon it will save you as well. And then we'll look at what type of business you are and what support package you might need. Do you want an energy efficiency grant? Are you a LoCASE business that needs a development growth grant? Do you not need a grant? Do you just want to go and do some training with us? Or if you've got nothing that we can help you with, do we need to send you off to somebody else, refer you to somebody else that might be able to help you? And there are other grant programs available at the moment out there that we can kind of refer you to. So once we've identified your package, we'll help you to apply for funding if you're going down the grant route. And then we'll work with you to hopefully get your application in front of the panel. And we have a monthly panel meeting that decides grants that come to the table, and you get an instant decision at that panel whether you get a yes or no. And then there's a final bit, there's monitoring and reporting, so be prepared to fill in a few forms and answer a few questions later down the line. So rather than just give you some sort of unassociated information and stats, I thought I'd go through a few businesses that have actually received help from us very recently. So I've got a few examples of energy efficiency projects that we've helped with and some LoCASE. So this first one, Chemtron, are a manufacturer for EMI shielded gaskets and components. And what they wanted was to replace their 50-year-old piece of equipment with a new piece of equipment. And you can see that they had some amazing results from that, got saved 9 tons of carbon emissions, had cost savings of £1,580 per year. But not only have they saved energy, but they're also increasing their productivity. So the machine that they bought, the new machine, did things much better and produced less waste. The next business here is Essex Acoustics, and what they applied for was a 3D CAD system just to help them to streamline their design process and make their manufacturing processes more efficient. Again, they've got some carbon savings there, but also, I mean, a massive amount of reduced waste steel because they used to do prototyping, and now they actually do all their prototyping virtually on the system, on the CAD system. So they've reduced their waste steel by 80% and have created a new job. So Rossi Limited, ice cream manufacturers based in Southend, and they moved premises and they needed to buy some new equipment, so we helped them to install a new walk-in chiller freezer and also a couple of aging vats for their ice cream. Huge carbon savings with this project, 53 tonnes, massive cost savings, so they reduced the cost by £16,000 and again created a new job. Novo Hair, based in Hockley, so hairdressing salon, they wanted to upgrade their heating and lighting systems. So again, we've got some really great carbon savings of 9 tonnes, good cost savings of 2,500, and all of those savings would add up to help them to employ more staff eventually. Gleneagles Guest House, kind of a listed guest house in Southend-on-Sea. They wanted to install LED lighting and sensor controls on their radiators. So again, very good carbon savings there, good annual cost savings, and a quite short period of payback, 3.62 years. So these ones are LoCASE projects, so these low carbon goods and services sector businesses, a company called Sun-Dried. They're ethical premium sports clothing brands located in Shrewsbury-Ness, and they wanted to employ a consultant manager and commission some social media to help with customer awareness for their new product line, basically the new marketing activity. So as a result of the funding that we were able to give them, £10,000 as you can see, they're going to bring the new product to market, ensure that the low carbon production standards are upheld, because that's very, it's very key for them as an ethical company. Going to create a new job and again increase their brand awareness. Surgical Holdings are a repairer of high quality surgical instruments, and what they wanted to do was set up a workshop within their facility in Southend to refurbish rigid endoscopes. So previously they were sending them out to the Netherlands at a cost of £70,000. So they have created their own workshop where they don't have to send the endoscopes out anymore. We're helping them to reach new markets. They've created 2 new jobs. They're increasing their revenue streams. So a really good outcome for the £9,000 odd that they were awarded. A company called Total Lockout, so they applied for support to help them to buy, again, a CAD/CAM system. So they wanted to be more efficient in the design of their tools, and it enables them also to distribute design files to manufacturers rather than having to send out paper drawings basically and going and seeing businesses. So it makes them more efficient. They're able to share their designs, which reduce their mileage actually, because they would normally would have had to travel out to customer premises. But they're also helping them to gain a new market. So they're designing a product that helps to protect mechanics from getting electric shocks from electric vehicles. So their LoCASE system helps to do that. And T&D Drilling, they are a company that puts in water pump systems, and they needed a new water pump because their old one was broken. So they are saving 1,200 litres of diesel through reduced vehicle movements, and they're also saving lots of costs because they were having to rent a piece of equipment, and now they've got their own piece of equipment that they don't have to rent anymore. So we've had lots and lots of businesses that we've helped, and these are all of the businesses so far that we've helped across the Essex, Southend, Thurrock region. And these are the ones we can talk about because these are the ones we've actually paid. We've got lots more that we've awarded grants to, but we just can't talk about them until we've paid them. So every single month we're approving more and more grants. We've got 22 energy efficiency grants going to panel this month. So, and we've got still got lots of time to deliver and still got lots of money to give away, so you haven't missed out yet. So if you're interested, obviously get in touch. These are the contact details for myself and the team. The primary way to contact us for to say that you're interested in getting some money is via our email address, so business@thurrock.gov.uk. You can also visit the LoCASE website or give us a call. And also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and we'll engage with you that way as well. We've got some events coming up. So we've got a workshop that's helping businesses to develop environmental management plans, and that's happening on the 12th of May at the Essex Business School. We've also, we're going to be attending lots and lots of events coming in the coming months. So these are a few of the ones that we're going to go to in the next few months. We've got Discovering Business in Essex, we've got a Harlow Business Exhibition, and we've got a few events that we're organising ourselves as well. So keep an eye out on the social media channels and the Facebook page and Twitter page to look out for what events are going to be coming up in the future. And that's it from me, so I'm going to hand back to Caroline. Thank you very much for listening this evening, and Caroline hopefully will now do the tech thing and take over.
Thanks, Lisa. I've actually left it on your screen, so that's fine. So do we actually have any questions? I don't think we do. Has anyone got any questions that they'd like to ask Lisa? If so, could you type them in the chat box now? Or we'll just wait a couple of moments to see. And if not, then we will draw this to a close in a couple of moments. So again, thank you to everyone for listening. If you know somebody who you think would enjoy the webinar, and certainly if they're in Essex, Kent or East Sussex, please do let us know on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/business funding, and we can arrange for the webinar recording to be sent to them. The recording will be available tomorrow, and we will send it out to everybody who registered for the webinar. So for those of you that couldn't make it, we'll make sure that the webinar is sent to you guys too. And as I said, please do join the Facebook group. If you've got any questions, we'll endeavour to answer them as soon as possible. So there's still no more questions come in. So thank you, Lisa, for sponsoring today's webinar. Thank you to LoCASE, and guys, thank you ever so much for turning up. I hope you found that useful. Again, as I said, if you've got any questions, once you receive the recording tomorrow and the group, please come and ask them. If you've got any questions that you want to ask Lisa about funding, or you know any other business who you think would be interested in the funding, please do get in touch with Lisa through business@thurrock.gov.uk. And I'm now going to close the webinar. So thank you all very much.